Hi there. How's it going? So I want to. This I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to highlight some things I read on a an article on the Guardian website, and basically it's kind of titled like "I Feel Trapped." Uh, people that are just trapped in kind of like the housing mortgage situation. And if you didn't know, like what a lot of people are in a position in is they at the beginning of all the COVID restrictions, they bought a house, um, sometimes sight unseen, sometimes too big, uh, and this is at a time whenever they bought the houses, it was before there was just like an overall spike in like 20, 30, or depending on the situation, a lot more for the overall housing price. And they also bought the house at extremely low interest rates. And we've been around since 2020. Uh, the housing prices have like skyrocketed, um, and the interest rates have gone up quite a bit. In fact, I live pretty far from the office where I work, and luckily I'm working hybrid. And I go into work 2 days a week, but I live about 50 miles away. And when we had all the restrictions, wasn't a big deal. Even when they let go, or when they started modifying restrictions, and you could start coming back to work. Um, Even then, it wasn't that bad because there's still a large number of people um, working from home, and the roads just weren't packed. I could get to work in about 30 minutes, almost whenever I wanted. And now, like if I leave in the morning, I try to leave before 5 in the morning, because if I do, it takes me about 35 to 45 minutes. But if I, you know, leave at 5:30, it might take me an hour. If I were to leave at 6, it'd probably take me an hour and a half to get to work. Like traffic is that bad. But hey, we'll talk about some of the parts of the article. So I'll just basically talk about like the individuals on the article, and then I'll link the article in the description. But there was a lady. Her name was Meg. She's 60. Uh, she's an office manager from Maryland, and uh, because of insurance prices and all of that, um, her house, when you factor in the mortgage, the insurance, the property taxes, probably the utilities, the mortgage takes 50% of her pay. Um, my mortgage is close to double. We bought the house that I'm in 2018, and a fixed rate mortgage. Um, in 2 or 3 years, if like the insurance keeps on increasing like double digit percentages, probably in 2 or 3 years, my interest or my mortgage payment will have doubled. I don't think it's not nearly taken up half of my total income, but it's still a pretty good chunk. So she got herself in a bad situation. Um, Amy, 44, self-employed writer from rural Maine. Um, she had to redo a roof, and she's got a couple of quotes anywhere from $65,000 to $140,000. Labor's gotten expensive too, like pretty much everything has. That top number is pretty insane, unless she just has an enormous house, um, or she's trying to put like some fancy tiles or something. I don't. That's pretty ridiculous. But you generally people know they're gonna need a roof. Roofs, if you just have like the regular, I guess they're like asphalt shingles. Those roofs don't last forever. They might have a 15-year lifetime, 20-year, 30 years, something like that. But they're eventually going to go bad. Especially if you buy a used house, depending on the age, you should almost expect that and probably take that in consideration of your offer price and things like that. yeah, like because she can't really afford to upkeep or maintain the house, because of the insane prices, insane property taxes. In a couple of years, she's gonna sell the house and get an RV, which, depending on your age, who you are, where, and all that type of stuff, experience, may or may not be a good decision. Another one, Stephanie, 49. She's a psychologist or a psychotherapist in Massachusetts. She had student loans, temporary disability, from like a whole bunch of different surgeries and stuff like that. Um, she's been in her house for 17 years, and she's only expecting to get about 200K if she's selling the house. Um, 17 years. I mean, she probably should be. I don't know. They didn't ever say what the overall price of the house was. That could be like 50% of the value, or 60%. I don't know what the value, but when she sells it, like, she's not going to get that much. But hopefully, I can plus up her retirement. Jane, 69. She's a pensioner in California, and if you didn't know what a pensioner is basically on fixed income. They might have small cost of living increases, but California is very expensive, and people on fixed income, like, they're getting squeezed big time, on everything. Like, the price, I don't think the price of anything has gone down. Um, Even if you're just trying to eat like very basic eggs, are basically doubled. So your food price is gonna. I mean, if all you ate was eggs, your food price will double. Hopefully, we're not doing that. But yeah, she's in a bad position. Like, probably, unless she had like a whole bunch of money or inheritance or something like that, she probably shouldn't have been in California. Jody, mid 50s. She was actually mortgage free, and she took out loans to fix and repair, some stuff on the house, and fences and stuff like that. I don't know how long or how much she actually took out, but you know that's if there's something called a sinking fund, and if you haven't heard of it, like, for expenses like, fences and roofs and water heaters and things like that, um, things that generally have a, a known price to repair. So, like, say if you knew you had to repair uh, your roof, and you have about 10 years to do it, and you got a couple quotes, and it was about $10,000. Honestly, you should be saving about $1,000 a year. Um, that way, by the time you get to that 30-year mark, or whatever that time period is, you have at least the majority, 90+% of the money saved, to where now, instead of having to maybe get a $10,000 loan, maybe you get a $1,000 loan, if you even had to do that. You could probably even say, hey, I got 9,500. Could you come down for the price, or meet me halfway, or something? Like, you could probably even negotiate at that point, especially if it was cash. So yeah, like, when you have known expenses, like, save for them. Have the sinking fund. Like, I kind of have a sinking fund on some of the stuff for our house. Um, and that will keep you out of debt. Staying out of debt will keep it to where you can stay mobile. Um, and that's, one of my three things, that I emphasize, to, like, get ahead or stay ahead. Stay on top of the situation. Uh, Another pensioner in her 70s, kind of same thing. Um, Bill, 67. He's basically getting priced out of the market. He's gonna sell, and probably moving out, maybe to a lower cost country. Mexico's pretty cheap. You have all the Southeast Asia countries. So that's always a potential option. If you're flexible and or adventurous, kind of depend on what your aptitude is. And the reason I bring all this up is, all these people, like, they're scared, they're stuck in their home, they're kind of like me, like, I don't want to sell the current house that I'm in to get a smaller house for twice the price. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. So like, I'm probably just going to stay where I am. Um, if they if they sell, you're still going to have to live someplace. So unless you're like going to move from California to West Virginia or something like that, and like just have a massive cost of living difference, or even move out of the country, most people, whenever they sell a house, they're going to have to buy another one. And when you just sold a house that you might have 3% interest on, you probably, most people don't want to buy another house of equivalent value, or even a smaller house of the same mortgage rate, but the interest rate be two or three, two times what they're originally paying. Hence their mortgage payment's going to be that much more. So it's like they're literally spending more for half the house, and that's kind of the situation I'm in. Yeah, and for all those people that take out loans for home repairs, they could have started the sinking fund, like I said. And that way they keep their flexibility. They're not stuck like too upside down. Oh, and that was the other thing. Like, when the interest rates go up, the prices of the houses kind of go down, because generally people pay, or they'll, but basically buy a house based on the payment, not on the mortgage, the overall mortgage, or the interest, or anything like that. So it's kind of like cars. So a lot of these people, they're stuck. They have a house that's too big for them. Maybe they bought when they had lots of kids, and all the kids have moved out. So it's just a really bad situation. They could have, if they anticipated it, they could have made decisions and plans, and maybe as the situation changes, like whenever mortgage rates fell, or not fell, started increasing, maybe they would have moved out a little bit quicker. Maybe if they dropped, maybe they would have stayed a little bit longer, kind of whatever the case may be. But you always have to be looking at these things. So yeah, thought it was kind of a little bit different. Read this article, and it's just every time I read someone's situation, it was just like, well, if these people are even real, like, you could just see it. If you're in that kind of resilience, or prepping frame of mind, when these things happen, you'll see it, and you can. It's not really looking. It's like hindsight 2020. Like, everybody knows the right decisions after the decision's been made for you. It's like, oh, well, I should have done this, or I should have done that. But if you can anticipate certain things, and if you can kind of live by certain principles, staying out of debt, being kind of a minimalist, or essentialist, or essentialism, being flexible, being able to move, changing your situations, kind of all that stuff. Like, all that matters. Yeah, sorry about that. Someone honked. I'm in a airport parking lot, by the way, waiting for my wife to fly home. Um, yeah, like, only get so much house. Um, you gotta look years, at least 4 or 5 years in advance. Um, if all your kids were in high school, it probably doesn't. It, and if they all plan on moving out, or if you plan on kicking them out, or anything like that, it probably is not good to go buy a house that has a room for every child, because in 4 or 5 years, when they all move out, go to college, join the military, or anything like that, now you're going to have a house with however many empty rooms. And you might be able to use one for an office, you might be able to use one for a hobby room or something like that. But it's just too much house. You have to spend the heating energy, the electric or the air conditioning energy. You have to clean it, you have to dust it, you have to maintain it, and it's all just way too much. So anticipate when you have milestone changes, and make the right decision. Because I'm kind of looking and making some of these videos and thinking, uh, life is a long term game, and a lot of times you don't necessarily win by making those you know long touchdowns or anything like that. Sometimes you just have to not make mistakes. Like, just don't make mistakes. Don't get in debt. Don't spend $100,000. Don't go in debt $100,000 for a English degree, or I always say underwater basket weaving career, because it just you'll never ever get out of debt, and the government's created conditions where you can't discharge student loan debt in bankruptcy. So okay, that's this video. Want to try something different? I'll probably be posting this either tonight on Saturday or maybe sometime on Sunday. Got to get in the routine of publishing at the same time every time to kind of establish a routine. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it. If you like the video, hit thumbs up, subscribe. I'd like to get at least one more subscriber, or as many as I can. And yeah, if you have questions, comments, or anything like that, just leave a comment, and we'll discuss it.